July 25th, 2022. Halfcast 329, episode 329. Let's go. Of course, I have a few things to share with you guys. An evening of reflection.
Now we feeling the heat.
Shall we? Woman accused of shooting husband in DC hotel says he molested children. One of the biggest acts of betrayal is to love someone, to be in a committed marriage, and to think you know your partner, only to find out that they are capable of doing something of this nature. Initially, I thought it read that she killed him with the feeling that even though it might not necessarily be her fault, but her being the closest to him, assuming some sense of responsibility. A woman said she shot her husband at the Mandarin Oriental Hotel in Washington, D.C., over claims he molested some of the children who attend the daycare she owns in Maryland, according to an arrest affidavit. Shantiari Weems was arrested on Thursday after police responded to a shooting on the eighth floor of the hotel around 7:40 p.m. According to police, hotel staff reported the incident after a smoke detector went off in the room. When a staff member opened the door, he or she observed blood on the wall, according to an affidavit reviewed by the Washington Examiner, lit his ass up. Because as owner of a daycare or anything dealing with children, your livelihood, your reputation revolves around the ability for people to trust you. Hotel guests and staff were evacuated from the building as officers attempted to enter the room to administer first aid, speaking with Weems for about an hour before forcing their way in. Police in heavy tactical gear attempted to lure the woman out, but she threatened to shoot herself if they came inside, authorities said. Stalling for time, seeing if she could get him to bleed out. Officers forced their way into the room once they determined a victim had been shot. Upon entering, the victim was found with bullet wounds to his leg and his head, although officials said they were not life threatening. Just the scope of your partner doing this really puts things in perspective. Like, I would have been okay with this just being cheating. Why couldn't it have just been cheating? While Weems was being detained, she made claims about her relationship with the victim, telling officers that they had been married for 5 years and lived together in Baltimore, according to authorities. Weems traveled to Washington, D.C. on Wednesday to meet her husband at the hotel and confronted him about allegations that he had molested several children at the daycare that she owns. It's not clear why the couple traveled to the district, although they told police they visit often. Weems again confronted her husband on Thursday about the situation, which resulted in a full blown argument that led to the shooting, according to the affidavit, because that is absolutely one of the conversations that we can't put a pin in it. We can't table it for later. We can't come back to it. We're going to have this out right now. As police searched the room, they found two firearms, one in Weems' purse and another in an unlocked safe. Your betrothed is gun toting. You picked the right one, as well as handwritten notes detailing her desire to shoot her husband. I'm going to shoot him, but not kill him. It reminds me of Soul Man, Bernie Mac. One note read, according to the arrest affidavit, I want victim's name to face the world as scum. I hope he gets beat up in jail. I want these kids to get justice, the notes continued. You're going to pay. Weems told police she didn't want to kill her husband, but she just wanted, yeah, but if he would have died, that would have been a consolation prize, but just wanted to hurt him, arguing that she could have killed him while the police were trying to get into the room, according to police. There's not really a such a thing as a brand new child molester. He could have quite possibly been doing this long before they got married. He was just good at hiding it. Weems told officers she had reported the molestation accusations to Baltimore police with officers confirming to the Washington Examiner they are investigating the situation. As of Monday morning, the victim has not been charged with a crime. Weems faced charges of assault with intent to kill, assault with a dangerous weapon, possession of a firearm without a license, and possession of an unregistered firearm. She is set to appear in court for a hearing on Monday. Next up, workers, I have COVID sign slams management who says it's okay to work because God forbid a manager or supervisor give up that whole bunch of nothing that they're doing and have to fill in for someone who's sick. Middle management is exactly that, mid, an alarming sign taped to a gas station store on Sunday warned customers of the potential health risk. Eric Coble works at a gas station convenience store in New York State. According to his social media, he fell sick with COVID-19 and continued to suffer from serious symptoms over a week later, but his manager ordered him back to work. He said since he had no choice in exposing patrons, he decided to issue the public health warning himself. Middle management will hit a city morgue and prop up a corpse like Weekend at Bernie's if they feel like that'll keep them from pitching in and picking up a little bit of the slack. His video of the sign taped to his store door has amassed 1.2 million views on TikTok. I have COVID, but management says it's okay to work. The sign said Kobo told viewers that he woke up feeling sick on July 15th. He went to work his overnight shift, but by the time he left the next morning, he felt seriously ill. He came in, he didn't call out. At least he stuck it out. I have got a massive fever, like I'm sure it was in the triple digits, can barely move. I'm coughing. I've got stuffy nose, he explained in a follow up video. He tested positive on an at home test and obtained a doctor's note the following day upon his manager's insistence. All week, I got nothing but messages and calls from her asking if I'm better. He said, that wouldn't make me feel better. That's so annoying. I'm like, no, I'm still sick. I still have symptoms. Coble tested positive again on July 23rd. He told his manager, but she said that time was up. This is fucked up. He recalled her saying, since you're vaccinated and boosted, you only need the 5 days the CDC says to take off. I am not a doctor, but I would like to think that the CDC didn't mean exactly 5 days for exactly everybody. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, updated its COVID 19 isolation guidelines in December 2021, shortening the quarantine period from 10 days to 5 days for people who have no symptoms or resolving symptoms. However, COVID positive patients who still show symptoms after 5 days, regardless of vaccination status, are still advised to continue isolating. Kobo repeated that he still had symptoms, but claimed she replied, it's fine. We need you back. You have to come back. Tell someone you don't care about them without saying you don't care about them. The worker said he immediately decided to post the sign telling viewers, I don't want to be one of those assholes that is responsible for getting somebody sick. He added that he has 80 hours of sick time, but they don't want me to stay home because they have no one to cover my shift. That's not his fault. Okay, peep this. Among 22 wealthy nations, the United States is the only country that does not guarantee paid sick leave, according to the Center for Economic and Policy Research, CEPR. The Families First Coronavirus Response Act, passed in March 2020, required employers to provide workers with 2 weeks of paid sick leave if they had to quarantine, but that protection expired at the end of last year. If you signed on to climb the company ladder, that's fine. but you can't pick and choose which rung you want to step on the way to the top. Walmart shortened its 2 weeks of paid leave to less than 1 week in January, shortly after the CDC updated its isolation guidelines. If they didn't pay attention to anything else, they made sure they kept tabs on how quickly they can get their employees back to work, regardless of the conditions or the circumstances. Kobo's TikTok comments were flooded with outrage at his management. One viewer summarized the general sentiment by fuming, "It's sad that people will still have to work with COVID because corporations won't pay for their time off." However, many also thank Kobo. I thank Kobo too for considering the safety of vulnerable customers. "People deserve to know," said one appreciator. "I'm chronically ill and I appreciate this sign. As the mom of a child on chemo, I really appreciate the warning," another wrote. Next up, New York bishop and his wife robbed in $400,000 jewelry heist during live stream service. I guess someone out there didn't care about asking for permission or forgiveness. A Brooklyn bishop like poetry and his wife were robbed during a live stream sermon on Sunday, police said. Bishop Lamar Whitehead was in the middle of delivering his sermon at the Leaders of Tomorrow International Ministries Church in Canarsie when three gunmen burst in at around 11:15 a.m., the New York Police Department said. Don't you think $400,000 worth of jewelry is a little bit much? I mean, if the shepherd is snacking on the sheep, what's the wolf going to eat? The armed assailants displayed firearms and demanded property from the 44-year-old bishop and his wife, 38, police said. When I see them coming to the sanctuary with their guns, I told everybody to get out. Everybody just get out, Whitehead said in a video posted to Instagram following the incident. "Oh, you didn't have to tell everybody to leave. They were coming for that beacon of light emanating from your person in the most non-religious way possible." And video shared online by local media outlets appearing to show the incident. And there's nothing wrong with being successful and being proud of being successful, but that's a bit much, which was captured on a live stream that appears to have since been taken down. Whitehead can be heard saying, all right, before dropping to the ground on his hands and knees. A masked suspect can later be seen approaching the bishop and holding what appears to be a firearm pointed at his back before appearing to make away with his jewelry. The video has not yet been independently verified by NBC News. Police say the attackers were believed to have taken around $400,000 worth of jewelry in total before fleeing the service on foot and entering a white Mercedes Benz. Just the rich robbing the rich? What's going on here? They were last seen traveling eastbound on Avenue D, police said. In his video posted on Instagram, Lamore said he tried to chase the suspects after they fled. He said he hoped they would turn themselves in over the incident, which he said had left many in his congregation traumatized. I would be traumatized too to find out that he was wearing $400,000 worth of jewelry and I'm in church wearing the same shoes I've been wearing since the beginning of the pandemic. The women and children that was in my church, my daughter, she's traumatized right now. She's not even talking. He said the bishop also pushed back against comments because there were some and headlines that describe him as flashy with his jewelry in his live stream services. "It's not about me being flashy. It's about me purchasing what I want to purchase," he said. "Defensive much? If I work hard for it, I can purchase what I want to purchase." Police said there were no physical injuries reported in connection with the robbery. They said an investigation was still ongoing. Fun show. Fun show. Fun show. That being said, I'm going to wrap this one up, but I'll be sure to talk to you guys very, very soon. Adios.